thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name's Olivia and I'm a gender affirming voice teacher. And today I'm going to talk about the 5 things that you should look for in a gender affirming voice teacher. Deciding to start voice training is a big decision on its own. Then finding a coach that really works for you and what you're looking to do, that can be challenging. So I really want to help you find the best fit possible for your journey. So today I'm going to share 5 things that you should look for in a gender affirming voice teacher so that you can make the most of your lessons. Let's get started. The first things that you should look for in a gender affirming voice teacher is their educational background and their teaching experience. So the truth is there's no single certification for anyone to make them qualified to teach gender affirming voice. So that means there's going to be a lot of different people with different qualifications who are doing this work. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. That can be really good because you can find the type of teacher that really works for you. So if your insurance covers gender affirming voice care, and some insurance providers do, you can go see a speech pathologist. So going to see a speech pathologist who's a healthcare professional, it doesn't necessarily mean that they've had specific training in gender affirming care. I think things are changing more now, but in terms of the curriculum that speech pathologists go through, they don't necessarily spend a ton of time in school on gender affirming care. The focus of a speech pathologist is to work on speech pathology, to help people who are struggling with vocal health problems. So most speech pathologists will have to go to outside trainings beyond their regular school training to get this knowledge. So if you're going to a speech pathologist, you can just make sure that you're going to someone who has a background and training in gender affirming care. Now, you might find someone like me who is a gender affirming voice teacher. Now, my background is in music, so I came from the singing world, and that's how I entered this line of work. So my credentials look different than a speech pathologist. So I have a degree in music. I have a master's degree in performance rather than a medical degree. So it's also important to take a look at how long that person has been teaching to give you a sense of their experience in the field. And you can also take a look, if they have like an online presence, take a look at their reviews and see what other people have experienced with that teacher. The next thing that you should look for in a gender affirming voice teacher is a personality that you connect with. Working on your voice is a really personal process. So I would recommend taking a first lesson, a consultation, and seeing how you feel when you're in that session. See how you feel after the session. Did you feel connected to that person? Did you feel like that was, a good experience, or did you feel uncomfortable? So finding somebody that you really can let your guard down with, and, you're going to be making funny noises and doing funny things in voice training. So it's important that you feel comfortable enough in that space to try things. I know I've taken many voice lessons where I don't really feel that comfortable, and I haven't been back. I think for me, it's different for different people, but for me, personality makes a big difference. Within that, it's also good to notice like what that teacher's teaching style is like. So you might like them personally, but the way they explain things doesn't really make sense to you. So you can kind of check in with that as well during your first lesson. It's also good to kind of like share your own what's important for that teacher to know about you in terms of how you like to learn, if you do have a sense of that. And hopefully that teacher would be open to that kind of information, because that's really important as you go through this process. The next thing that you should look for in a gender affirming voice teacher is whether or not they're listening to your goals. So with vocal modification, not everybody is going to be going for the exact same voice. There are going to be different pitch parameters. There's going to be different styles of voices that are going to suit people's personalities differently. Or maybe you want to have a versatile voice. Maybe you want to be able to shift through different voices. So depending on what you're looking to do, hopefully that teacher is able to really hear that and work in a way that where you feel like you're moving in the direction of what your goals are. So I think the thing that you can look out for is whether or not the teacher is asking you questions. So if it's just kind of like, a lecture all the time, that's not going to feel as great, and you're not going to feel like you're moving toward your specific goals. Because really, when it comes down to it, like, that's why you go to private lessons, right? That's why you're in that one-on-one setting, so that you can really understand the concepts and have them explained to you in a way that you can take them in, and also really be heard and feel like you're moving in this specific direction of your unique voice. The next thing you should look for is whether your teacher is giving you constructive feedback. So the voice is kind of a mysterious thing in a way, right? Because we can't see what's going on in here. We're really kind of relying on what our feelings are in terms of how does that feel? How does that sound then when it feels like that? So some of the communication about voice can be a little bit vague. So it's important to find somebody who's able to give you tangible things that you can do. Of course, being aware of your feelings and all those things, that's really important. But also, noticing specific things that you can work on, ways that you can improve. It's great to get positive reinforcement, and that is really important too when you're working with a teacher, to know, okay, yeah, I know when I'm doing this correctly, or I know that sounded like, what the exercise should sound like. So it's really important to know, like, can my teacher hear these issues, and are they able to really help me make those changes? The last thing that you should look for in a gender-affirming voice teacher is that they are considering your vocal health and the longevity of your voice. So there are a lot of sounds that you can make for 10 seconds. There's a lot of things that you can do for a short period of time. But a lot of those things that you can do can lead to chronic tension or fatigue or, issues with the voice. So making sure that your teacher is emphasizing your vocal health and making sure that your voice feels as good as it can through this process is going to be really important. So if you're working on vocal modification, you're working on finding your voice, and it's not going to be helpful to you if you can find your voice for 5 minutes. It's going to be helpful for you if you can find your voice for your life, so that you can really use your voice long term and it doesn't turn into a vocal health issue. So for instance, with vocal feminization, sometimes when we're seeing that larynx lift too much, that can create a little bit too much tension in there, and isn't going to be sustainable as you continue throughout your life. So slow incremental change that feels good in your voice. Using your voice takes effort, but it shouldn't be strain or tense. So you want to find somebody who really pays attention to your vocal health for your voice to be healthy in the long term. So finding the right gender-affirming voice teacher can really make or break the experience of vocal modification. So make sure you take your time and do your research and really notice how you feel when you're in a session with that person. I think that is the most important thing. Do you feel really comfortable? Do you feel like you're making progress? Do you feel like you're making progress toward your specific goals? All those things are really important. And if you're interested in trying a consultation with me, there is a link down in the description for you to book a session. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video has been helpful for you, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video.